All right, Aaron, third year at the helm here. How have you evolved as a play caller the last couple of years going into this season?
Well, I'm just always trying to get better. We ask the players to get better. You ask them to work all off season on, and getting stronger in the weight room or getting better at certain techniques and skills. And so coaches have to do the same thing. So I've spent every off season doing everything I can to be a better coach, and I ask the same thing of all my assistants.
Can you watch football casually, or are you always kind of picking at, oh, I liked that, maybe I'll have that influence in my play calling?
Yeah, I can't watch it casually. Yeah, I'm always seeing I think all coaches are that way. You're just seeing the scheme of it, and a lot of the best plays are borrowed and stolen. So a lot of times I'm watching NFL preseason game and I see, oh, that fits us. That's something we do well, or fits something we do well, and so that's just how it is.
Okay, let's walk through some of the positions. Obviously, Keaton Slovis at 1. Is Jake Retzloff the number 2 quarterback, or is that still a battle?
He's been taking number 2 reps, splitting the number 2 reps with Cade. Cade has been dealing with a little bit of minor deal that's held him back a little bit lately, and I feel like Jake's really done a nice job the last few practices. So that's not a final decision yet, but right now Cade's got Jake's had a few more reps lately. Yeah.
Running back, safe to say Aiden is the number 1, and then is there a battle for 2, or is that Deion Smith?
So Aiden's doing a great job. Deion Smith, that guy, man, what a good player he is. Very smart guy. We're doing a lot of things with him, and very impressed with just how smart he is and how mature he is. He's a great leader. And then LJ Martin is a standout in camp so far. He's one of the best players on this team, and he will play this year. You'll see he's a very good football player.
Getting LJ was incredible. I have an uncle who lives in El Paso and knows the family, and he is the number 1 fan of LJ Martin here.
Yeah, I try not to get too excited about freshmen sometimes, but he's already proven that he's going to be a player for us this season.
That's exciting. Okay, wide receiver. You have 3 incumbent guys trying to stay healthy, 2 transfers that look to play into it, and then how big do you want that group to be in terms of what that rotation could look like?
Right now we have a 6-man rotation, so you have the 3 guys returning, Cody, Keanu, and Chase, and then Darius and Keelan Marion are the 2 transfers. They're both doing a very good job, and Parker Kingston has, he's only been playing wide receiver for 1 year because he was a high school quarterback, and he's right there in that group, as good as anybody in that group. He's a very good player, great speed, and so that's our 6 right now. And then we have a couple other guys, that are reliable that I think could fill in a game, play for us. Talmadge Gunther, Hobbs Nyberg, Dom Henry's had a really nice camp. I think he's knocking on the door there for a chance to play. I'm probably forgetting someone. Oh, and then JoJo doesn't exactly always know what he's doing yet, but super talented kid that has a really bright future.
Okay, tight end Isaac Rex, and then what's the battle like for number 2 and 3 there?
Ray Paulo has really stood out to me, and same with Tava, our transfer from SUU. Those 2 guys are both going to play a big role for us for sure. And then Mason Fakahua has done a nice job in camp as well. So those are the 4 main guys that are getting the most of the reps right now, and we have really upgraded at that position. Just Isaac's so much improved from a year ago, and the addition of Ray and Taba, those 2 guys are doing a great job. Very impressed with both of them. And Mason Fakahua is much, it was a position change for him last year, and now he actually looks comfortable at that position and is doing a nice job.
Okay, on the offensive line, certainly Kingsley at left tackle, and then it feels like there's some battles there. How's the Connor Pay, Paul Miley battle at center?
Well, the interesting thing about that is it's like the least of my worries right now, because we've been alternating them, and you never even notice which one's which. They're just both good, solid players, the veteran guys, very professional about it. And I think both of them would probably like to be the center, but neither one of them makes a big deal about it, and I honestly don't even notice in practice which one's in. I'm more concerned about other things because I just know those 2 guys are both going to do a great job for us no matter what they play.
And if one's the center, the other's probably a guard, right?
Correct, yeah. One of them will start at center, one will start at guard, and either way, one thing I've told both of them is you've both started so many games in your career at center that it's not a bad thing to play guard. Like you're just putting more games on tape of playing another position. So whichever one of them does it, it's not a negative at all.
Caleb Etienne seems to have been running with the ones the most at right tackle to this point.
he's had the most reps there, yes, but we have rotated some other guys in. Simi and Braden Kime have both played right and left tackle, and both are doing a good job.
And then other guards that have come in, Tyler Little, Sonny Makassini, who else has been in the mix?
I'd say Waylon. Waylon's probably he's been a factor in there, and Ian Fitzgerald had a very good scrimmage Saturday. So that'd be a couple guys, yeah.
You've been bullish on this O-line. Certainly they were incredible last year. What do you feel like is different about this group than last year's group?
I just think these guys are hungry, and first of all, they all seem really like they're having a lot of fun, and they're really appreciative to be here. You know, we've got some transfers in that group, and it's been fun for me to see the transfers embrace our team culture, embrace BYU, Provo, and you know, there's some new faces in there, but the energy that those guys bring every day is contagious. You know, the other players on the team feel it and they feed off of it, and so that's been my favorite thing about those guys.
Each of the last three starting quarterbacks of BYU had their strengths, Zach and Jaron. What does Keaton do that's maybe a little different than what those two guys did?
Well, I don't think there's that much. There's a lot more in common than there are differences. You know, he's not. I think it's no secret he's not the exact same runner that Zach was, or you know, but he's a very accurate passer. He's a better runner than you think. He can run everything we've been doing for the last 2 years, and but he can really throw it. And his decision making is outstanding, and I'm really happy he's here.
How much of, hey, this is our system, you fit into this, versus, okay, I see you can do this, I sort of add this into the play calling exists?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, football is definitely about creating matchups and finding ways to get the ball to your best players, doing what they do best. And I feel like, however, our offense allows for that. You know, we have a very diverse system. We can play in just about any personnel grouping you can think of. We have a lot of formations and shifts and motions and things we can do to create those matchups. And so, yeah, it's just a matter of each year finding out, okay, who are the guys? How do we get them the ball? Doing what they do best. And I think we're going to be hard to defend.
How many snaps could you give, you know, this team September 2nd if needed?
So, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
How many snaps could you at receiver give this team if needed?
0. First rule of coaching is never demonstrate full speed, and I never do it. So, yeah, none.
Well, thanks for the time, and best of luck in the next couple weeks.
Nice to talk to you.